How many times have you pulled that little yellow-flowered plant out of your garden? Maybe last week, maybe last year, maybe without even noticing for years. That thin stem with its white milky sap, even those puffball seeds you blew on while making a wish, you threw all of it away as a weed. I'm really curious how you'll feel when you hear what I'm about to tell you. Every year, Americans spend hundreds of millions of dollars trying to kill this plant. Can you believe it? Hundreds of millions of dollars. Lawn chemicals, herbicides, garden sprays, their only shared purpose: to kill this one plant. And do you know what those same people do in the same year? They pay another small fortune at the pharmacy to buy capsules made from this exact plant. It's almost a joke. Same plant. One in the trash, one in a capsule. If you stick with me to the end of this video, you'll never do that again. Because every single part of this plant root, leaf, flower, carries its own secret. And in the final section, I'll talk about a use most people never hear about in their whole lives. That part will completely change how you look at this plant. The year 1620. When the first European settlers stepped onto American soil, do you know what they brought aboard their ships? Seeds. Millions of seeds. Wheat, barley, carrots, anything you can think of. And of course, dandelion. They didn't bring this plant by accident. They brought it on purpose. Because in medieval Europe, the dandelion was not a weed. It was medicine. It was carefully grown by monks in monastery gardens. The roots were dried and ground, the leaves boiled and eaten. It was used for many things: liver problems, bloating, skin issues, and more. In English medical books from the 1600s, there are entire pages dedicated to the dandelion not as a flower, but as a tool of healing. And what about Native Americans? They had been working with this plant long before the Europeans arrived. The Ojibwe boiled dandelion roots for stomach ailments. The Cherokee used the leaves to support kidney health. This knowledge wasn't written down or printed in books. It passed from mouth to ear, generation to generation. Now think about this. Your grandfather's garden, maybe this plant grew there. And maybe he wasn't the one pulling it out. There was someone in your grandfather's life who said, "Don't pull that out by the root." You didn't understand back then. But that person wasn't wrong. They didn't have a lab in their hands. They didn't even know the names of the compounds. But they observed. What passed down through generations wasn't knowledge. It was observation. And that observation was remarkably accurate. And how do we know this today? Because science is now measuring what they saw with their eyes. Which state are you watching from? Share with us in the comments. It always amazes me where this knowledge travels. Now let me give you two numbers about this plant that nobody put side by side. Harvard's published nutrition guide lists dandelion greens among the leafy greens with the highest vitamin K density. 100 grams of fresh leaves provide more than 6 times the daily vitamin K requirement. I mean, it's 6 times. From a single handful of leaves. That's incredible. Now compare. Store-bought organic spinach gives you about 4 times the daily requirement for the same amount, which means dandelion is actually richer than spinach. And you pay for the spinach, but you pay herbicide money on the dandelion. Just think about that for a moment. There are 3 substances in this plant I cannot leave unmentioned. First, inulin. This fiber in the root cannot be digested by humans. But that's exactly what we want. The good bacteria in your gut feed on it and multiply. Research from multiple universities, including the University of Illinois, has shown that inulin positively affects gut microbiota. Today, you pay dozens of dollars at the pharmacy for capsules labeled prebiotic. A major part of what's inside those capsules is inulin, and it grows for free in your backyard, my friend. Second, taraxacin. This bitter compound in the root and leaves stimulates bile production in the liver. Reviews in complementary medicine literature have specifically highlighted the liver-supporting effects of this compound. That heavy feeling, that bloating you get after fatty meals? A common cause is reduced bile production. Third, taraxasterol. This is an antioxidant, and I want to be honest with you, it's still in the research stage. But studies published in the Journal of Ethnopharmacology have looked at its effects on joint inflammation, and the early results are very promising. Now I need to tell you something important, and I'm not saving it for the end, because it matters too much. If you're on blood-thinning medication, especially warfarin, the high vitamin K content in dandelion leaves can interfere with the medication's effect. If you have a history of kidney stones, Talk to your doctor before consuming large amounts of the leaves. This plant is powerful, and anything powerful demands respect. Don't start using it in large amounts without talking to your doctor first. Wait 1 second. If this video is making you look at a plant in your garden with different eyes, well, that's exactly what this channel exists for. Every day, I'll be publishing a new video about plants that most people mistake for weeds or think are useless. This is the very first video on my channel, and I genuinely need your support, my friend. If you enjoyed the video, please subscribe and turn on the notification bell. You don't want to miss the next video. If you're watching on TV, grab your remote, scroll up, and hit subscribe. Now let's continue. So how should you actually use this plant? First, one thing to make clear. Before you harvest from your garden or the roadside, make absolutely sure that area has not been chemically sprayed. Plants harvested from soil treated with herbicide or fertilizer are not useful. They can even be harmful. If you're not sure, you can find fresh or dried dandelion in organic grocery stores or from online sellers. Step 1. Identify the plant correctly. Dandelion leaves are smooth and shiny. There is absolutely no fuzz or hair on them. Each flower has its own stem. You'll never see two flowers sharing one stalk. The leaf edges are jagged, just like lion's teeth. That's actually where the name comes from. Dandelion is from the French dent de lion, meaning lion's tooth. When you see these three features together, you've found the right plant. Step 2. Making leaf tea. 1 teaspoon of dried leaves or 2 teaspoons of finely chopped fresh leaves if you have them. Add 1 cup of boiling water. Now pay attention. Cover the cup and let it steep for 10 full minutes. A lot of people skip this. When you steep an uncovered cup, the volatile compounds float away with the steam. You lose a major part of the benefit in that moment. When it's ready, strain it, and then enjoy. Drink 2 cups a day for 2 weeks. Enjoy, my friend. Step 3. Making root tea. Wash the roots, cut them into small pieces, and dry them in the oven at low heat. Then grind them in a coffee grinder until they become a fine powder. Take 1 tablespoon of this powder and add it to boiling water. Wait 10 minutes, then strain. The color should be dark, and the taste slightly bitter, similar to coffee. But of course, caffeine-free. You can drink it in the morning instead of coffee. This is the strongest form of use for liver and digestion. Step 4. Making skin oil from the flowers. First, fill a clean glass jar with dandelion flowers. Then cover them completely with olive oil or coconut oil. Close the lid and let it sit in a dark place for 6 weeks. Then strain the oil and discard the flowers. You can apply this oil directly to your skin, especially for sun-damaged areas, eczema, or dry skin. It's a method that was also used in early American herbal pharmacy traditions, so it's not just natural, it has history behind it. Step 5. Add it to your salad. You can put fresh leaves directly into your salad. If the taste is too bitter for you, dip them in boiling water for a few minutes, then strain. This process removes most of the bitterness. Here's a tip. They pair beautifully with lemon and olive oil. This is the easiest and fastest way to use it. Now I'm going to tell you the most important thing about this plant. In the 1800s, European immigrants arriving in America deliberately released dandelion seeds into the wind. They spread them around their fields, along the roadsides, even onto empty lands. Why? Because this plant was food for them and for their animals. Especially during times of famine, it was a life-saving reserve. So dandelions didn't spread across America by accident. People intentionally spread them everywhere. Then came lawn culture. Neat, green, uniform lawns. By the mid-20th century, this lawn culture had become the symbol of the American garden. And in that sea of perfect green, a single yellow flower began to be seen as a problem. The herbicide industry grew, and the dandelions in our gardens were declared an enemy. But the plant didn't change. Only how we look at it did. Think about it. If you buy a supplement labeled liver support or digestive health at the pharmacy today, there's a good chance one of the listed ingredients is dandelion extract. Look at the fine print on the label, and you'll see I'm not lying. Dandelion was never a weed. It was declared a weed. Those are 2 very different things. Now I want to ask you a question. Do you have a dandelion in your garden right now? And how many times have you pulled it out so far? Be honest in the comments below, my friend. Don't take this the wrong way. I'm just genuinely curious about your answer. If you learned something from this video, please send it to a friend, especially one with joint pain, digestive problems, or someone who spends a fortune at the pharmacy every month. Maybe, without even knowing it, they already have dandelions growing in their backyard. This is the first video of my channel. That's why I really need your support. If you stayed with me until this moment, please drop a like, subscribe, and don't forget to turn on the notification bell. One last thing I want to say. In the next video, I'll talk about a plant that has been in most American kitchens for years. Everyone knows it. Everyone uses it. But almost nobody uses it correctly. And of course, when used incorrectly, all of its benefits are wiped out. What's more, there are some combinations people make every single day that completely cancel this plant's effects. You're already using this plant, but probably the wrong way. See you in the next video, my friend.